So this is a 2017 Troy-Bilt Storm Tracker 2960 XP. Had for a couple of years now. And last year I put it away, drained the fuel, emptied the carb. And this year it starts up and it does the surging thing. Let me show you what it sounds like when you start it up. It only wants to run smoothly with a partial choke on, which leads me to believe the carburetor possibly has the idle circuit that has clogged. So here it is running with a partial choke on. If you give it more choke, it smoothens out. Let's do that. And at the lower choke, it surges like this. This is no choke. This is a no choke operation. So we'll see about replacing the carburetor on it. It doesn't look too bad. Looks like the carburetor is right in here. Looks like we're gonna have to take out these two bolts. There's two more bolts over here. This one here and that one there. From there we'll have to take out this choke knob. I think we can just pull it right up, and that should get us access to the carburetor. All right, so before you start, you'll need a couple of tools for this project. Flathead screwdriver to remove the choke knob, vice grips to clamp off the fuel line, pliers to move clamps off, and a 10mm socket with an extension, and the socket driver there. That should be it for what you need. You also, of course, will need a new carburetor kit or a carburetor, and I'll post the link on to the one I used for the Storm Tracker 2690 XP. I'll post it in the description. All right, I'm gonna work on getting this removed. Get those loosened up. All right, we'll get this cover off, and actually we gotta pop that choke knob. Get a screwdriver here. See if we can pop it open, pop it off. Put the phone down here for a minute. Okay, choke knob popped off. It's loose in there. I'm gonna get these all off. And let's see if we can get this cover off. All right, there's a slot here in the case right over here. If we position the throttle in that slot, the case should, plus the cover should just come off. We'll have to wiggle it around a little bit to get the choke knob out in the right place, but after wiggling it a little bit, it'll come off. Okay, the cover is off. I took the primer bulb off. We have the remaining primer bulb line here going into the carburetor. That's not holding us down. We do have our fuel line coming in on this side with a clamp. We'll probably pinch that off and probably spill some fuel into a can here. And then from the looks of it, it's just these two nuts that are holding the carburetor on. Take those off and see where that takes us. Okay, took off this, I think they call this the heater box assembly. sitting on the inlet of the carburetor. It's got a hose plugged into the top of the cylinder, I think for the bypass air, and also had the electrical wire loom in this area here clipped on. After taking those two off, this assembly comes right off the carburetor. And now the carburetor appears to be loose. Should be able to get that off after pulling the fuel line off. All right, so pitched off the fuel hose right over here and wiggled it off this inlet barb. Push the clamp up, wiggled it off. Next is we got to take off the throttle assembly linkage and the little spring here. So you can see that the throttle is attached here, also the spring. So we'll take each one of those out, pull them out, and then should be able to pull the carburetor right off. All right, so got the spring out, got the little throttle linkage assembly out. The carb removes, and there's a little gasket here. Just inspect it, see if it looks good, if it could be reused. If not, replace. If you have some, replace them. The carb comes out just like that. I'm going to move the primer hose over to the new carb, drain the fuel out of it using this little here nut. That way we don't have fuel sitting in it. And then we'll put on a new carb and see how she runs. All right, new carb is in. Buttoned up. Look out for the throttle linkage. When you put it back together, make sure the throttle linkage can move freely and not be binding. Put everything back together in reverse order. Get the choke knob in the right place. It should just pop right back in when you find it in the right place. And let's give her a run, see how she does. See if she needs to be choked. There it is, running nice and smooth. Choke is off, no more surging. Running nice and smooth, the throttle is smooth. Low RPM, running